Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. This is Armin's Tech Talk for December 29th, 2021. This is going to be one of the final Tech Talks of this year. I want to thank you all for watching in 2021, and I hope you continue to watch in 2022. Please, if you like the content of these videos, hit that like button, and if you do enjoy the content, please subscribe to the channel and do ding that bell button. That way you're notified of new videos when they come out. But being that this is one of the final videos for 2021, let me go ahead and say this is not the final video because we're talking and we are on the eve of CES 2022, and we're going to start with LG predictions. So let's get into it. So LG Display has shown off some of their concepts for CES 2022, from a entertainment recliner, which has a 55-inch OLED paired with a recliner that has speakers. We've seen some concepts like this from Razer last year. This is a really interesting product. Maybe with two companies looking at it, it could be something someday. And then we have their transparent OLEDs. Last year, if some of you remember, LG was showing at a restaurant setting where there was a transparent OLED, and on one side, you as the individual going out to eat, you could see not only the menu board on the OLED screen, but you could actually see the people making the food behind the menu board, and it was some semblance of separation, especially in times that we live in now. I know that's important. However, this year, what they're doing is they're showing off the transparent OLED in some form of like bookshelf ending where it's transparent. Maybe you can show pictures on it. It's another interesting concept and something that they're trying to sell to manufacturers so that they bring these concepts to reality. The transparent OLED at this time, of course, being the slightly harder sell. But we're not here necessarily to talk about LG Display, although there is one thing I am going to bring up toward the end of the video, which just came out today. So that won't be as much of a prediction as it will be just kind of reporting the news. But this is what we've got so far. So we know that every year LG Electronics, now LG Electronics differs from LG Display. LG Display is the research and manufacturing arm for the displays that are sold by LG Electronics, Sony, and others. Where the difference comes in is LG Electronics is the ones that make the final TV, where the display arm just makes the panels that go into the television. That's the difference between the two. I know we go over this every year, but there are a lot of new people that watch this channel or watch other channels, so I'm hoping that we can differentiate that going forward. But we'll continue to break that down as necessary. With LG Electronics, what you're going to get is you're going to get a line of LCD TVs. You're going to get a line of OLED TVs, at least as far as that goes. That's the very top high level. Now, let's start with the OLEDs. We already know that LG Electronics has their several lines from the very basic model, the A model, all the way up to the G, which they call the Gallery series. And they're going to be introducing in this upcoming year some leisure models. So these are models that have mechanical, call it coverings. They have a mechanical covering. They've shown off mechanical OLEDs that roll up or come up and down. They've done that in years past. This one's going to have a cover that moves up and down. Again, they're trying to expand the market with other features, more high-end. These TVs are going to be way up there. So we have the A to the G line. There is a Z line that is reserved for 8K. My big prediction we're going to start with the Z line and we're going to come down. The Z line or the 8K models is that this year there's going to be a price drop. In the past 2 years, the Z has come out in two flavors. It's come out in a 77-inch and it's come out in an 88-inch. There's not been a bigger television. There's not been a smaller one. Just those two models at 8K. And they've started at 19,000 or 19,999 dollars or $20,000 US for the 77-inch and $30,000 for the 88-inch. I think those are actually going to receive a price drop this year, as there are going to be other technologies coming to market from Samsung. We will talk about that in the Samsung video. But there is going to be competition in the QD-OLED, in the OLED space. And so I think with the new competition coming in, with the fact that year over year, according to industry analysts, the television market has dropped 12%. Television manufacturers like LG are going to want to keep the momentum going. They're going to have to push new technologies to market. And so what we're probably going to see is finally, after several years, a decrease in the price of those products. Now, what are we talking about for a decrease? Unfortunately, I don't think we're talking about anything that is going to bring 8K mass market at this time. But I think that on those televisions, what we will see is a $5,000 to $6,000 decrease. So you'd be looking at $13.99 to $14.99 for that 77-inch, and then you would be looking at $24 to $25.99 for that 88-inch. That 88-inch may come down a little bit more than that and be around $19.99, which that would be a bigger jump. But I do think that's where 8K is going to start the process of bringing 8K into the mainstream. Usually, most of the innovation on those TVs happens at the price point of about $6,000 to $10,000 or $6,000 to $12,000 is where a lot of the innovation happens on the televisions. They usually introduce, of course, next gen technologies at the higher end. So your 20,000, your 30,000. That's where those technologies come in. But once they drop them, that's where a lot of innovation will happen. That's where they will start introducing more things, because now they're starting to bring it mass market. Maybe there's some content for these televisions, so it's starting to roll into the point where more people are going to be interested in it. There's actually a little bit of content out there for those people, and it's not going to be something that is just out there for bragging rights, and if you have a bunch of money in burning a hole in your pocket to spend. I think that's what we should expect with the 8K OLEDs next year as far as price goes. I don't think we're going to see a new size, but if we do see a new size, it will be the rumored 99-inch. That may also come out at the $30,000 price point or $35,000, which again would also be a reason to push the other two models down the stack some, because they'll have a new flagship. Right now, the rumor is 97 to 99-inch OLEDs are going to come out. There is no price point or no availability on that. Rumor, of course, is that it's going to show up at CES, but we may not see it till late in 2022. I do think it's going to be 97 inches, not 99 inches, because you still need some waste on the substrate that they make these panels on. So I don't think you're going to get full 99-inch there. But as we move down the stack and we start talking about innovations, I think you guys will find things a little bit more interesting. Next on the list is we get into the G series. And the G series, I think, is where we are going to see the 4K screen sizes. Next, we get into the G series. Now, the G series is the gallery series. These are the televisions that when you originally buy them, you've got to buy the legs separately if you want to put these on a television stand. These televisions are meant more for hanging on the wall if you have a nice place to do that. Personally, I would like to see one that comes with legs, but LG does sell the legs separately. The legs are about $199. Maybe a little bit less than that, but that's the high end on legs for attaching to the television if you want a TV or if you want to mount it on a TV stand. So what is going to be new with the G2? I think the first thing is we're going to get new screen sizes. We have a 77-inch. That's where it maxed out in 2021 with the G1. I do think that we may see an 83 or an 88 or a 93 in that model. Again, I think that 97-inch that I spoke about earlier, that's going to be reserved for the 8K screens. But I do think that we are going to get a larger screen on the G2. Definitely at least the 83. So a little bit bigger than that 77, but 88 has been an 8K model standard for quite some time. So we may see at some point the G series come out in an 88-inch in 2022. You can put me down for that, and we'll see how right or wrong I was post CES. Also, I guess to note with the G series is you have it in 65, 77. It's going to be an 83. I believe there's a 55. There's no 48 for that television. Now, I know a lot of people out there that basically wall mount their LG OLEDs, and they're running 55 inches in an office. So maybe, and I think this is a decent possibility, LG could, of course, charge a little bit more for that gallery design, is put a 48 or potentially the rumored 42 in that gallery design and let people buy that for their gaming desks or office, because a lot of people don't have a lot of room on their desks. They are limited in space and so choose to wall mount it. And I think that actually would be a smart move for LG to move into that space. Now, moving into the C series. The C series is the general consumer OLED. This is the one that everybody buys. This is the one that is usually priced the lowest. I got my CX 77-inch from Best Buy in 2020, and I paid about $3,400 for it, $3,500 for it. Being that in that retail year, that television came out at $5,000. That was a pretty decent price drop on that TV by the time Black Friday came around. And that's usually when we see these TVs drop in price. But this year, I think what's going to happen is, and there are other YouTube channels that have already semi-confirmed this. LG Electronics says, LG Display has said this is going to happen, although LG Electronics has not confirmed anything. We're going to see a 42-inch television this upcoming year. The 42-inch TV is, of course, going to be the smaller television from the 48-inch. It is going to allow another size, a smaller size, and bring LG more into that desk space, which is where LG wants to be. They want to be in your office, not just your living room. And so I think we're going to see that TV launch. I think although a lot of people have said that that TV is going to be $1,000, unfortunately, with what has gone on over the last couple of years, I don't think we're going to see that TV priced at under $1,000, but I think it's going to be close. I think we're going to see that TV come in at $1,099. And I think part of that is due to tariffs. I think part of that is due to shortages in capacitors and other substrates. So as much as we want a sub $1,000 LG OLED, I don't think that's going to happen in 2022. So $1,099, $1,100 right now is my prediction on that 42-inch television. And hopefully we will see that going into the future. Now, one other thing I want to say, and maybe this will or won't happen going into the future, but some tech tubers out there have described that the reason LG was able to do the 77-inch or the 83 inches that because they were able to get better yields, and because of multimodal glass where they can flip everything around to cut the screens, you're able to get a 48-inch. Well, if you decrease the screen size on the small end, you can increase it on the large end. So this is also why I'm saying that I think that 88-inch 8K is going to come down in price. They may actually introduce an 88-inch 4K television at some point, not just the 83-inch. So I definitely think that's coming. If not in 2022, then certainly in 2023. The B and the A lines, those are pretty basic televisions. The A line is the bottom of the stack. That is 4K, that's 60 hertz, that is HDMI 2.0. There's not a lot going on there. Those are usually the last of the televisions to get upgraded. And those, in all honesty, those are probably going to be your TVs, even at a 55-inch, that probably dip below that $1,000 mark before anything else, because that is the oldest technology that is out there for the OLED. They do stick new chips in it so they can kind of keep up processing with the new web OS and the like, but those are the TVs that will discount the quickest because the technology is not the best. And I would assume that the profit margin, at least on those televisions, isn't too bad. Television profit margins are razor thin. I mean, unless you're at the super top end, but I would assume that if you're really using old technology on that A line, you're not doing too bad in regard to your profit margin there. Your B series, I guess that's somebody who's looking for a little bit of a budget. You're still getting 4K 120 there. And there's really nothing else special to say about the B series. In general, that's our line. Now, the one additional interesting thing to note with it when it comes to LG televisions for 2022 is last year LG introduced what they called the Evo set. And it was a slightly different color space. The television got a little bit brighter. Panasonic was able to, it wasn't Panasonic. It was Sony who used that on the A90J, made it a little bit brighter. LG used it. It was just slightly brighter, but they weren't doing as much with it as Sony was. They did introduce the Evo panel. There was some rumors that people who were buying C's were also getting the Evo panel, but they had to do some switching in the utilities menu to actually be able to get that to work and brighten up. But if this is the case, now I'm not sure, and I've had discussions with friends about this, the LG Display has announced that they are releasing a new panel for 2022. The panel is supposed to be 30% brighter. This panel is going to give us the promised, or should give us the promised, 1,000 nits that we have been waiting for on OLED for a long time. Again, they're stating about 30%. I did the math. If the average OLED is running at about 750 nits, 30% brings you up to 975. So just a bit short of that 1,000 mark, but close enough where your eyes really aren't going to see the difference of 25 nits or so. And really the debate right now is, are they going to do it like they did with the Evo panel and just stick it on the G series, or are they going to expand it across the B and higher? Friends and I have had a debate. They think it's going to be across all the lines. I'm skeptical of that. I think they may just stick it on the G line because, hey, we need a bit of a reason to get that jump. I believe the Evo panel was not quite 30% brighter. I think they were claiming 10% on that last year. I would have to go back and check. But that's really kind of, at least in the OLED market, what we have to look forward to. Moving over to LCD as a general form is a dying breed. I do think we see a few more models in that side of things. As we get into 2022, 2023, I think we're going to phase that out entirely. The only reason it's even stuck around is because due to the shortages, LCD prices were beginning to rise again, and so the manufacturers decided it was something that they wouldn't mind keeping around. With that being said, they kept it around. We'll see it again in 2022. But LED, micro LED, and I think that's where we're going to see LG going to compete with Samsung. It's going to be more micro LED televisions. They're going to work on, of course, adding more dimming zones. They do have a lot of competition in that space from Samsung, TCL, Hisense, Vizio even. There's a lot of competition in that LED space. And, you know, Sony, of course, has the wall. I think that's micro LED. I don't know, maybe it's mini LED, but that's quite a different set in the price range. I do think these companies are going to be working on those. I'm not as familiar with LEDs and pricing and performance as I haven't personally owned an LED LCD television in about 4.5 years. I think that's where we are with LG at this point going into CES 2022. Guys, I hope you really enjoyed this video, at least my take, giving you what I think we're about to see as far as pricing. Oh, I guess one other thing to mention real quick is that I think we'll see another slight price drop on the C models. The 83-inch C1 started about $5,400. I think we'll see that start at $49.99, maybe $45.99. I think it's going to come down a little bit. I don't think it's going to be drastic. Again, they will probably push it down if they're going to introduce a larger model, which they are claiming to do. Again, if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you enjoy the content on this channel, I have a whole bunch of other videos. I am trying to concentrate more on the tech here on Armin's Tech Talk. If you want to see more of this type of video or me talking about different types of tech, do hit that subscribe button and do ding the bell so you're notified when those videos go up. I want to thank you very much for watching this video. If you don't watch any other videos this year, Happy New Year to you, and I will see you in the next video.